Good morning, and welcome to today's hearing for the New York City Council Committee on Aging. At this time, if you would like to testify, you must fill out a witness slip with one of the sergeant at arms in the back of the room. You may submit testimony@council.nyc.gov. At this time, please silence all electronic devices. Please silence all electronic devices, and no one may approach the dais. Chair.
Yeah. Good morning, and welcome our commissioner. And first of all, I want to thank you to visit a lot of senior centers, especially the ones in my district. Thank you. And I'm Council Member Susan Zhuang, Chair of the New York City Council's Committee on Aging. I want to thank all of you for being here today for this important oversight hearing on addressing social isolation among older New Yorkers. As we know, New York City older adult population has growing rapidly over the last 20 years, with the largest growth in the older adult population coming from immigrant older New Yorkers. More must be done to assure older adults in our city receive the support and the resources they need, regardless of their background. Unfortunately, according to NYC agents' 2025 Service Needs Assessment, approximately 22% of older adults feel that they are not socialized as often as they would like, and a further 17% report feels high level of loneliness. These numbers are a sign that we are falling short. Social isolation occurs when an individual has little or no meaningful contact with others, limiting engagement with family, friends, or community, and loneliness is a painful experience of feeling that one's relationship lack closeness or meaning. Both are linked to serious physical and mental health conditions. Those who feel isolated and alone are more likely to suffer from anxiety, depression, cognitive decline, and even physical conditions like heart disease. Loneliness literally hurts the heart. We are holding this hearing today to discuss with administration how NYC Aging is working to identify older adults who are socially isolated, what programs are in place to help these individuals and those at risk, whether it's suffering outreach, whether there's a sufficient outreach, and the ways we as NYC, as New York City, can innovate and adapt as NYC becomes older and more diverse. We know that 30% of older adults who live alone, 40% of those aged 85 and older, and nearly 37% reported at least one disability. In the Bronx, the rate reached 50%. We also know that older adults of color are more likely to live alone, lack family support networks, facing discrimination in services, experience poverty, and face language barriers. These are some of the community members most at risk, and it is these people we need to thinking about today. I look forward to hearing from administration about what's doing to help older New Yorkers not just live but thrive in this city. We will also hearing 3 pieces of legislation today. First, pre-considered introduction by Councilmember Lee, which could require NYC agent to make any application form benefit information resources or service which are available online, accessed through non-digital means. Many older adults don't have reliable access to internet or may not have technical skills necessary to be able to easily access this virtual information. These New Yorkers would not be left behind. Second, we are hearing a preconsidered introduction by Council Member Encarnacion. This bill would require NYC Aging, in collaborating with NYC Emergency Management, to conduct in-person and phone-based wellness check during extreme weather events. Older adults are often more at risk for severe weather events, including extremely cold and heat. It's critical that NYC Aging and NYC Emergency Management prioritize these New Yorkers, ensure their safety and their well-being. Finally, we will be hearing a preconsidered resolution by Councilmember Milley, which calls on the state legislature to pass and the governor to sign S 8689 and A 155. This state bill would authorize the State Department for Aging to establish, operate, and maintain programs for transportation services. This is the time that agencies dedicated to older adults take a leading role in innovating and implementing programs aimed at population under their purview. Transportation is a major tool to combating loneliness, and it's often one of the most common concerns for older adults. It's time the state's Department for Aging to be given and the power to face this issue directly. Thank you to my colleagues to join me today, to NYC Aging for testify, to my staff member Jennifer Thorne Moscon and committee staff Christopher Pep, Joshua Newman, and Simo Hamid. Before we continue, I want to recognize my colleagues who are here with us today. Councilmember Crystal Hudson, yes. Councilmember Audible. I think that's it, right? Before now, I want to turn it to committee council to administer the oath to the representative from the administration.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning. If you could both please raise your right hands. Now, in accordance with the rules of the council, I will administer the affirmation to the witnesses from the mayoral administration. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony before this committee, and to respond honestly to council members' questions? You may proceed with your testimony. If you could turn your microphone on, Commissioner.
Thank you. Sorry for the technical issue. Good morning, Chair Zwang and members of the Committee on Aging. My name is Dr. Lisa Scott McKenzie, and I am the Commissioner of the New York City Department for the Aging, New York City Aging. Today, I am joined by Eileen Malarkey, our Associate Commissioner for Supportive Services within the Bureau of Social Services at NYC Aging. I am very grateful for the opportunity to speak with you today about our agency's commitment to fighting social isolation among older adults. Combating social isolation is a key reason for the Older Americans Act, which established area agencies on aging, of which New York City Aging is the largest in the U.S., to create the necessary programs and structures which provide older adults with the tools needed to stay socially, physically, and emotionally connected as they age. NYC Aging programs, such as our older adult centers, our naturally occurring retirement communities, the Friendly Visiting Program, case management, caregiving, geriatric mental health, home-delivered meals, and caregiving programs integrate combating social isolation into their program standards as a key component of their overall service. To say the least, we take social isolation incredibly seriously, and it is a motivating factor behind our programs and services. As we learned during the pandemic, social isolation can have large impacts on everyone's health and well-being. Yet, in older adults, this is a major impact on their health, which is linked to increased levels of heart disease, exacerbation of chronic issues, and limitations on their mobility. As we have said many times before, we expect the number of older adults in New York City to increase significantly in the next decade. As the population of the city ages, so does the need for expanded services to help older adults remain in their homes and communities with dignity. This includes a growing demand for caregiving support and resources to address the epidemic of social isolation. Older adults are particularly vulnerable to challenges like loneliness and financial insecurity, which are further complicated by concomitant problems like food and housing insecurity. We recognize that these are the kind of meat and potatoes issues that older adults may face every day, and this combination of issues can worsen conditions such as depression and anxiety. In response, New York City Aging has been working to meet these needs with a particular focus on innovative solutions that foster connection. New York City Aging's work is designed to provide comprehensive support where older adults already live. Through our robust network of community partners, we aim to expand our services to better serve more of these vibrant communities. We want to ensure older New Yorkers have access to the resources they need to thrive. This includes mental health services and social engagement opportunities. Our goal is to empower older adults by providing the tools and connections necessary to maintain their health and independence. We are constantly looking to better calibrate and improve programs and services to meet the needs of this growing population and ensure they find the social and emotional connections needed to age in place and thrive in New York City. New York City Aging has done this through a broad, interconnected network of community-based nonprofits. It is clear to us that older adults want to remain in their homes and in the communities they have helped to build as they grow older. Our
All right.
See, innovation.
Test, test. Yeah, it died. My apologies.
No problem. Thank you so much. Our network of more than 300 older adult centers, which I am currently working my way to visit all of these centers, is fundamentally achieving this goal. I'd also like to thank the chair and our other elected officials that have joined me for the visits to our centers. And I welcome other council members and other electeds throughout the city to continue to join with us as we further engage with our older New Yorkers. These centers serve as true community hubs where older New Yorkers can congregate, learn, and socialize. Our approach is to meet older adults in their communities by ensuring the services they need are accessible and integrated into their neighborhood OACs as well. This aligns with our broader community care plan, which aims to promote independence and well-being of the aging population by connecting networks of services throughout the city. These centers are the front line of our defense against social isolation. Through diverse programming, we offer much more than just a place to sit and grab a meal. Our centers provide art classes and technology education, as well as recreational activities. We also provide communal lunches that offer culturally aligned, nutritious meals, with the goal of ensuring inclusion to make everyone feel welcome and respected at the table. These programs provide the social infrastructure necessary for mental and emotional health. They are essential engagement opportunities that prevent older adults from withdrawing from society. By providing these services, they can live healthier and more connected lives. We are building a city that truly embraces longevity as well as aging with dignity. We also recognize the need to provide services which are culturally and linguistically appropriate for older adults in various communities throughout the network, a goal that this committee and our agency has shared for years. Our programs are required to know and understand the communities they serve and provide programming in appropriate languages, but equally important, with an appropriate social cultural focus. We see this in a diversity of centers which serve Spanish speaking communities, LGBTQIA plus specific centers, and centers serving Muslim, Asian, Caribbean, West African, and a range of other ethnicities and communities. The same applies to NORC services, where older adults are further supported in their homes and buildings where they have lived for decades. NORCs are set up to address and combat social isolation because of their unique position where they already exist in a place where other older adults have found and set up communities. These include healthcare management through nursing services, civic engagement through interactions with case assistance staff, and working with housing management to address long-term housing issues experienced by older adults. These are key services which help to prevent older adults from moving into institutional care and keep them in their homes and communities they have built. When older adults remain in their homes and communities and receive the services they need to assist in daily activities of living, we are succeeding in our goals of combating social isolation. For those who cannot physically travel to a center, the risk of isolation is even more acute. New York City Aging addresses this through a multi-layered approach that brings the community to the doorstep. Our home delivery
Testing.
Hello? Testing. Thank you for being so responsive. Just to remind everyone, we're speaking about case management and home delivered meals and how they combat social isolation. So, for those who cannot physically travel to a center, the risk of isolation is even more acute. New York City Aging addresses this through a multi layered approach that brings the community to the doorstep. Our home delivered meals program is a vital component in this network of services. Not only do these meals provide sustenance to homebound older adults across the 5 boroughs, but interaction with the delivery person is crucial. Many clients may have limited direct human interaction because of health challenges, mobility issues, or other impediments which affect their daily lives. The case management program evaluates and understands older adults' needs so we can better find the supports that alleviate social isolation. Case managers do much more than just handle paperwork or coordinate benefits. They perform vital check-ins that serve as a lifeline for homebound clients. These assessments allow us to monitor not just physical needs, but social and emotional health as well. When a case manager checks in, they are often the first to notice if an older adult is feeling lonely or disconnected. This allows us to intervene early. We want to ensure that no older adult remains invisible just because they cannot leave their home. Meals are still part of this equation, and we continue to hit milestones in meal delivery with a current record of more than 10 million meals served to older New Yorkers throughout the 5 boroughs. This includes 6.1 million meals served at the 300 plus OACs in the network and 4.2 million meals delivered by our home delivered meals providers. These are 10 million interactions with older adults over a meal, and everyone represents an opportunity this agency has taken to address and alleviate social isolation. Because we recognize the vulnerability of our older adults to become socially isolated, New York City Aging operates the Friendly Visiting Program, which is available to homebound clients through our case management agencies. Through the 9 providers across all 5 boroughs, case managers can identify a client who is lonely and then refer them for an assessment where they are matched with a volunteer that fits their specific needs. These volunteers undergo background checks and training and commit to the program for at least 6 months. A coordinator monitors these matches to ensure that older adult is happy and safe. Volunteers visit and speak with homebound older adults in the program where they share interests and build friendships, which ultimately limit social isolation. We are always recruiting new volunteers, especially in areas with shortages like the South Bronx, and encourage anyone who is interested to call us at Aging Connect at 212-AGING-NYC or 212-244-6469 to begin the process of joining this incredible program. These interactions are not just service calls. They often blossom into lasting friendships that bridge the generational gaps. It significantly reduces feelings of loneliness for people who might otherwise go for days without a conversation. We have seen firsthand how a simple weekly visit can completely change the outlook of an older adult. It gives them something to look forward to and reminds them that they are a valued part of our city. Additionally, an innovative approach to reduce social isolation has been through our partnership with the New York State Office for the Aging, Nycc, and their lifelike animatronic pets project. While not always appropriate for every older adult, these robotic pets have had proven results as part of the 2018 pilot study, which showed that 70% of older adults who receive the robotic pet experience a decrease in loneliness. We are always looking for potential avenues to reduce the impacts of social isolation and loneliness, and these animatronic pets are just one of many options within our programs and services. This focus on connection extends to our mental health programming as well. Placing licensed clinicians in our centers makes it easier for older adults to get help without the stigma often associated with seeking therapy. By coming into an OAC, an older adult will be able to access a hub of services, all of which are part of our efforts to reduce social isolation. If they don't want to come into an OAC, they can schedule mental health counseling over the phone or by calling Aging Connect, who will then connect them to other programs. By treating mental health as a normal part of aging services, we can better address the depression and anxiety that often stem from isolation. We are giving older adults the tools to process their feelings and reconnect with the world around them. The goal is to be connected and ensure we limit isolation in every program or service. As part of today's hearing, there are also two pre-considered introductions which we are here to discuss. Introduction 1634 from Councilmember Encarnacion establishes a system of completing wellness checks for older adults during extreme weather events. And Introduction 1630 would require that New York City Aging make non-digital applications, paper applications, available to older adults. We are aligned with the council on the spirit of these two pieces of legislation. We are very concerned about the impacts of older adults, what they feel during periods of extreme weather, and we want to ensure that our programs serve the most vulnerable older New Yorkers. We'd also like to maintain that connection and lifeline of assistance during emergency periods across the city. Similarly, we want to make it easier for older New Yorkers to access the benefits and services that will best help them. In many instances, our programs, like OACs, case management, New York Connects, and others, will assist older adults when filling out forms to access benefits and services. While sometimes a paper form may not exist, or we may need to be specific in how we identify vulnerable adults, we believe and support Council's intent on these bills and look forward to discussing these further as they become law. We are always grateful to have a relationship with Council where we can find solutions that work for our agency, providers, clients, and our shared goals. I am immensely proud of the work our staff and provider network at NYC Aging accomplish every day. We are consistently working to be more innovative and efficient in meeting the diverse and growing needs of New York City older adults. Like you, we are concerned about social isolation in our communities and the ways in which older adults may be cut off from the bonds that have strengthened and enriched their lives. With your continued partnership, we can ensure that older New Yorkers are not only cared for, but are also celebrated and respected. We all must advocate for the same statewide, especially as we await a finalized state budget. We all must become the activists needed to ensure we achieve this goal. I thank you for your steadfast commitment to New York City older adults and your unflinching partnerships with this agency.
Thank you, Commissioner. And also, as we start last time, we have a new tradition for our hearing. This is the pictures from 3 senior center. They don't want me to name who they are, but even senior center, they're afraid. Look at the condition there, and this picture is from 3 borough, Queens, Brooklyn, and the Bronx. Those are senior centers in terrible condition. To motivate our seniors to go to our senior centers to fight against senior isolation issue, we need to provide really good condition in all the senior centers. I believe you agree with me.
I absolutely agree with you. And as we have noted, even in the centers that we saw in your area, we can always find room for improvement at any one of the sites. And obviously, wherever these sites are, first of all, I don't want any site to ever feel that they can't come to us for assistance if they need it. We have an open door, and obviously I've been going out, along with many of you, to every one of these sites. So even if they don't self-identify, we will find them when we go out for our visits. But I also want to just mention that we really have a focus on looking at issues that require immediate addressing. So as we've gone out to the sites, we're tracking the completion rate for any items that I've identified, and at many of these items we consider just do it's. And if there are things that can be taken care of within 2 weeks, we make sure they're done within 2 weeks. We want to make sure that all of our sites, Nycc sites and private landlords, provide safe, functional, attractive environments for our older New Yorkers.
Thank you. And we also joined by Councilmember Dinowitz by Zoom, since Councilmember Hudson has to go soon. So let's Councilmember Hudson to ask a question first.
Thank you so much, Chair, and good morning, Commissioner. Just a couple of questions on specific demographics of older adults. How is NYC Aging measuring whether LGBTQ plus older adults who are more likely to live alone and lack family supports are being effectively reached by existing programs? And I know a lot of the demographic information is, folks have to self-identify, but I'm curious to know if there are any specific ways in which you're measuring LGBTQ folks and how they're being reached by existing programs.
And thank you so much for that. We are so excited about our recent work to better serve our LGBTQIA plus older adults. As you know, we've been speaking about our efforts to form the LGBTQIA plus Commission on Older Adults, which was mandated as part of the Local Law 173, and we've held 2 meetings, one in November of 2025 and one in February of 2026. Our 3rd meeting for the commission is currently scheduled for May. We brought together nearly a complete commission, and you should know that during our first meeting, the agenda topic was about social isolation. One of these areas we focused on was the impact of long-term marginalization within this community, which can then lead to social isolation in older adults. Part of the work of this commission will be to look at social isolation, loneliness, and to provide programs that can better serve LGBTQIA plus older adults. We've also made efforts to ensure that we don't just simply pigeonhole them into programs, but we include all centers into programming centered around more inclusive services. Just last December on World AIDS Day, New York City Aging hosted a panel discussion examining the history of the AIDS generation and its impact on older adults today. This panel discussion wasn't simply for our LGBTQ centers, but included the wider network and contributed to overall LGBTQIA plus curriculums in all of our centers.
Great, thank you so much. And Chair, can I just ask one more question? What culturally specific outreach strategies is NYC Aging using to reduce isolation among Black, Latino, and Asian older adults who face higher rates of poverty and linguistic barriers?
I'd say that we do know from nationwide data that we do have challenges, specifically in our non-white older adults. And they're more at risk in certain areas. One of the things that we've done is to take a look at issues like digital literacy and access to internet. And we've made sure that we are working with our OACs to provide programs that include requirements for these in all contracts that perform outreach and are more inclusive, so that if we do have communities that are underrepresented, that they do have a place at the table and that we are serving them as best we can.
Thank you. And I'll just say, I think in the years immediately following the pandemic, we were trying to do our best and paying very close attention to social isolation, but obviously we were dealing with a lot. And so now that we're a little bit more removed from the pandemic, I think it's that much more important that we focus on social isolation and the impacts that it has. So thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you. And just to follow up with the service for LGBTQ IA plus community, I recently spoke to a senior center in Brooklyn. They have members travel 1.5 hours from Bronx to Brooklyn, because very often those LGBTQ seniors, they don't have this senior center in their own neighborhood. They have to travel very far. So is any plan for NYC Aging to identify more location to serve this community?
Absolutely. And we will have an RFP that will be coming out in the near future, later this year. And it is one of the elements that will be included in that RFP to be more inclusive and where there are specific community needs to address those.
Because they told me they don't feel safe when they go to other center. That's one of the issue. They only go to Pacific One because most of members there from the same community. They feel more confident and comfortable in that space. So if we can identify every borough have this type of facility, we'll be helping this group of people more. That's what I think.
Thank you so much.
And also, we have Council Member Abdul have questions.
Good morning, Commissioner. Nice to see you again. Nice to see you. So, how does the Department for the Aging assess mobility limitations in communities? Ambulatory disability, lack of safe sidewalks. I think that's particularly true in like Nycc housing, where people are isolated because they can't traverse the broken sidewalks, and it's preventing older adults from participating in adult centers and community programs.
So I can answer part of that. We have a case management program that serves frail and disabled, and part of their assessment is to assess their needs and then connect them either with services or it could be like devices, but that's one way that's addressed through our case management program.
And we've also partnered with the Department of Transportation for walkability tours, and they've actually gone out to senior centers and walked around the surrounding area just to be sure that our older adults are safe as they come to the centers. In addition to that, every one of our sites has an environmental assessment checklist that will identify fall risk and if there are issues that may cause someone with mobility issues or may serve as a barrier to persons with mobility issues. And of course, we work on addressing those.
And do you have a program that has like mobile senior centers?
It's
Or have you
something-
thought about
well,
that?
We always welcome the council's partnership and thoughts and new ideas. And absolutely, if it's something that we find will better address the needs of our older adults, we look forward to working along with you all to have some mobile centers. Why not?
And do you track how many older adults stop attending programs due to mobility decline?
We don't directly track if the older adult is not attending due to mobility issues. However, we do have wellness checks. If an older adult does not come into the center, there are folks at the center that will reach out to them to find out, what the issues are, or if there's something we can do to further assist them to be able to make it to the center, or if maybe they need to transfer to homebound services instead of having to come out to the center. So we do work on it from that part of the issue, and we also have our service needs assessment. And we found from that service needs assessment, which was conducted in 2024, but the findings came out in 2025, that older adults have indicated that some of them have issues, and they're afraid to be able to leave their home due to 20% cited physical limitations, 15% cited a fear of falling, and 5% cited a lack of accessible transportation.
And on the animatronic pets, I'm not quite sure. I have pets. I love pets, and I know many seniors who have had to give up their pets because they can no longer care for them. But I'm wondering if there's a way to provide some kind of service, some kind of connection to, the many organizations that can provide, service, can visit seniors with service animals. They do it in hospitals and some other and nursing homes. So I'm wondering if that's something that you've thought about doing.
We have thought about it. I know my associate wants to bring out some additional information, but I'll tell you, it was really one of the most attractive features of the animatronic pets, because you're right. Many of our older adults would love to have a pet, but probably can't maintain a pet the way they would have in their younger years. Just waste disposal and being able to feed these pets. So the animatronic pets are really, really lifelike. We've actually trialed some of them in our office over the last week or so, and I'd say, I was a little skeptical too, but I tell you, when you really interact with it, you can see the benefit. And again, it may not be suitable for every older adult, but for those that would like to have, we would certainly encourage them to get one, and we're working through some of our programs to introduce them as well.
I think you covered it, right? That and your clients can always go through Aging Connect and then get connected to our right program. And we recently, through the State Office for the Aging, will have access to more of a supply. So this is a good time to bring that up and for them to reach out.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I have a follow-up question on your statement. There's a talk about robot pets. Can you give more information? Robotic
Yes.
pets?
Yes, these are the animatronic pets that we're talking about now. And perhaps you all may benefit from us sharing a few with you for you to get an idea of what we're talking about. But yes, they're very lifelike. They're robotic, but they don't look like robots. They actually look like different pets. They have dogs, they have cats, they have birds. So some of them are really interactive. They for me to tell you and for you to see it, I think you may benefit from actually seeing it.
In the pilot program, how many seniors is like the database?
Well, it hasn't been offered by us. It's been offered by Nycc. So they've had the benefit of this, and I know that they've published some of their results on this. We can bring you additional information, but right now they are the source of this project.
Okay, thank you. And also, how does NYC Aging identify homebound older adults who are not connected with city-funded services?
So our case management agencies do outreach in the community so they can help identify frail disabled clients, and then they also look to community partners, healthcare partners, social service providers, faith-based organizations to know about the service so that they can actually refer to the programs. And then once referred to case management, there's an assessment, and then there's connections with some very vital programs for clients who need home-delivered meals. We're talking about social isolation and loneliness. We have a friendly visiting program they can be connected to. And then depending on their needs, helped with benefits and assistance and connections to other programs.
Do you have detailed data?
We don't track how many clients come to our programs because of this outreach, but we do rely on our programs to have robust outreach so that they're reaching the maximum number of clients.
So between the people you did outreach, what's the percentage of people speak other language except English?
We'll have to get back to you on that.
Okay, because we are talking about a lot of minority groups. A lot of them doesn't speak English at all. If there's in the program, there's no one speak the language, there's no way to do the outreach.
So we do rely on our programs and expect our programs to serve the community. So that does mean that depending on which community, that there are workers that are bilingual, bicultural, and we found that that's a good way to serve the community. but we can get back to you on data in terms of breakdowns.
Yeah, I like to see the data. We'll follow up with you about the
Okay.
data later.
And as you know, I just wanted to add one thing, excuse me, that as you know, all of our programs are culturally sensitive. So we never want language to be a barrier to communication with any of our older New Yorkers. So definitely we'll bring you the data back on that. And I'd like to circle back for one moment to the Nycc project that we just mentioned. There were 4,500 older adults in that pilot. So it's a pretty good representation.
According to your 2025 service need assessment, NYC Aging and its providers served just 12% of city's older adults population in FY 2024. The same report states that approximately 22% of older adults are not socialized with others as often as they'd like to. 17% reported related high level of loneliness. Has NYC Aging conducted any recent estimate of how many socially isolated or homebound older adults in New York City remain uncounted or unserved? And do you have that by language speaking?
So I want to start out by saying that we certainly understand and agree that there are critical needs in reaching underserved populations throughout New York City. And we are reaching clients and completing the work of our programs with the staff hours that are available. We are exploring at this time a repeat of the service needs assessment. As we develop the timeline that we'd like to roll this out, we will further advise you in the future. But as we all know, New York City has changed significantly since 2024. And so we want to be sure that we are working towards addressing the current needs of our older New Yorkers. So it is something that we're considering.
Thank you. And how is NYC Aging coordinating outreach with hospital, EMS, Nycc, property management, and Medicare, Medicaid managed care plan to identify isolated or at-risk older adults?
Well, one area of focus for us is interagency coordination and being able to work across the various New York City agencies to identify vulnerable or more vulnerable clients. So just yesterday, I had the opportunity to talk with our new DOH-MH commissioner, as well as representatives from New York City Health and Hospitals, Dr. Ted Long, and we're working on a partnership program where we can identify some of these socially isolated older New Yorkers. An additional enhancement at New York City Aging is that we are including flags in our system that will be able to flag for us any critical and at-risk older New Yorkers so that we can prioritize their needs in a more efficient manner.
And do we already have a senior agency task force, have members from different agency? I saw we
Yes.
already have that one, but I don't know what's the activity so far.
Right. It's the Cabinet for Older New Yorkers. And it's something that we feel has very effectively coordinated some of the services, but there are targeted needs too, where you may need to have a subcommittee or a ad hoc group looking at specific issues. So absolutely the Cabinet for Older New Yorkers will continue, and that's something that we hope to have back up and running in the next few weeks, so you'll have more information at that time.
So there's no meeting, any meeting scheduled currently?
There are meetings scheduled, but I don't have the date now, but perhaps one of my associates will hand me the date. But we do have meetings scheduled, and we are continuing the Cabinet for Older New Yorkers.
Because I see the bill we pre-considered. I feels like if the cabinet is already working on those issues, even we should not have this bill needed in New York City. But because I feel there's a lack of communication, maybe internally between the agency, that's the reason our city council member have to introduce a bill to make sure different agencies work together to make sure the isolated adults get taken care of during extreme weathers.
Well, this may be, and obviously you have the right to your opinion on that, but I can tell you that I am aware that we have strong interagency collaboration. The Cabinet of Older New Yorkers just reinforces what's already happening at most of our agencies across the city, and you can never have too much attention to an issue or a concern for our older New Yorkers. So if we feel that in addition to that, we need to stand up other bodies to look at these issues, we will certainly do that so that uh, we have a real targeted approach to being able to address the needs of our older New Yorkers. And I just want to also circle back and say the Cabinet for Older New Yorkers does meet quarterly. So we will be meeting shortly.
Do you think we can make that monthly? Quarterly, we have a lot of issue about seniors, about housing, food, isolation. It's not only just one agency's work. It's a multi-agency's work to help our seniors.
It is. But
If it's meet quarterly, I don't think it's frequent enough to address those issues.
Well, that would be true if we weren't working on our own. None of those agencies stop working and wait for the quarter. So, they are working independently, and usually at those meetings, they will come and provide updates as to what they're handling. So, absolutely agree. If it was quarterly only, you are right. That would not be frequent enough. So, we do encourage that they continue to work, and as they come to those meetings, they bring very robust updates, which really let us know that they've continued working when those meetings are not being held.
Is this question maybe should not to commissioner in aging, the other commissioner. Will they have particular liaison assigned to senior related issues?
Yes, they do. And I will say to you, and of course, the other commissioners are just as focused as I am on New York City as a whole. Obviously, New York City aging is more targeted to senior issues, but our seniors are not forgotten at any one of our New York City agencies.
Do we able to have those liaisons contact list so we can share with council members when they have issues? They can just go direct to those people.
Yeah, that would be a great idea.
Thank you. We're looking forward to have the list. Also, for follow up with Council Member Abdul's question about the winter social isolation, she talked about with Nycc building. This winter, in the past winter, we have been experienced extremely cold weather. A lot of seniors come to testify in the other hearing, not in this hearing, talk about it's very hard for them to get out from their home. And in the same time, does NYC aging coordinate with like a winter awareness or get set up initiative so that social isolation older adults are able to have any virtual social engagement programs?
So between January 22nd and February 6th, our case management and caregiver providers made approximately 16,400 wellness calls to ensure that some of our most vulnerable individuals were prepared for the storm. And 36 of those clients who were contacted received some direct support, such as additional food or meals, heating assistance, or over-the-counter medicine. New York City Aging amplified the cold weather alerts, and they used Notify NYC messages, an advanced warning system, notifications to the agency's service provider network, including all our contracted congregate, social, and direct care organizations.
Thank you. And I just want to also mention that extreme weather, extreme heat, whatever may impact on our older New Yorkers, we have a very robust and dynamic emergency preparedness program at New York City Aging, and would also like to point to my previous work in emergency management, and I am a certified emergency manager. So it's always a focal point for us at the agency, making sure that we proactively prepare our older New Yorkers, because we don't want to wait for something to happen. We want to make sure that they're always prepared, and if something does happen as a surprise, that at least we have the resources to roll out to assist them. Thank
you, Commissioner. I think with your experience in emergency management, management can bring probably a lot of benefit for this summer. If it's the hot weather, you can help a lot of seniors in our city. And also, I want to recognize we're joined by Chair Mealy. Chair Mealy, you have some questions?
Yes, it's going to be very brief. Sorry for being late. I have 2 meetings at the same time in the community, all the leaders in the district, but I felt this was much more important. And I want to thank you, Dr. Scott McKenzie, for the meeting. I'm looking forward to working with you so much more. And I want to just highlight from the last hearing, I was able to put in my budget about $10,000 to give to Ken Sheen, KCS Corona Older Adult Center, to see how we could coordinate together with transportation to bring in the seniors from there to Brooklyn. And I don't know how I'm gonna do it to Brooklyn to Queens yet, but I'm still looking to make sure that the isolation is not so intense that seniors withdraw and they almost give up. So I just want to tell you that I have 2 questions, but I got to tell you something else. We just had the first AIDS tournament in Brevoort houses, and it went to 9 p.m. I'm not going to tell you the organization because I got to work with them a little bit more. But how can we keep the senior centers open a little later? That was phenomenal. I brought my spades partner. It was at least about 40 people in there, and that's how we keep our seniors, I'm not calling them seniors, my young seniors, from isolation. But what was so good, they gave us lunch, well, dinner. We stopped at 7:30, ate for 15 minutes, and started the tournament again. I only lost 1 game, but it's still, I'm going to take it over soon. But don't forget, I do it every Friday, like today at Mount Ararat. We have senior center. Friday is usually my day off. I go there and play every Friday. Oh, I didn't even ask my question. Sorry. Okay. But please, we got to do more with that about the transportation. But thank you. We got to talk more on that to make sure that Staten Island, Queens, Manhattan, we should be agencies and inter senior centers networking with each other. Because I found out Urban Upbound, we was telling our seniors about the $198 with your taxes. Seniors could automatically get that off the back. And that's been going on in my office for the last 3 months. You could be 99 years old. A lot of seniors leave that money on the table. So the director, Bishop Taylor, said that he plays spades. So I want to pop up with him to go to the senior centers. And one thing I want you to know, that make our seniors dress up a little more. They look forward to coming out even at night. Everyone is not, privy to coming out, but it's important for the ones that can, let's get them out. What is NYC Aging doing to increase older adult access to transportation? Because if we had a bus to take people home or at least close, we could have everyone out at night. And what coordination exists between NY's New York City Aging, DOT, and MTA regarding accessoride to address transportation-related isolations? And what coordination exists between NYC Aging, DOT, and MTA accessoride to address transportation-related isolation? And I have to give it to accessoride. I've been talking to the seniors. We used to call it stressor-ride. So now it's getting kind of light. They said, no, I'm okay. I guess the new cars come in also and not just the truck. So that's a plus. So how can we do that with the transportation? Have y'all had any communication or collaboration?
So
Sorry.
Thank you so much for your
Oh,
robust
thank you.
support and advocacy, Sia Mealy. Thank you for our conversations regarding the sites that are within your district as well. And I just want to mention a few things. First off, we have been looking at whether or not there would be a way for us to keep some of the centers open a little more in the summertime. In relation to our cooling centers as well, so that we pretty much kill two birds with one stone. So it is something that we are looking at right now. I'll also say that we do have an RFP coming out for both the OACs, as you know, to increase access, but also for transportation later on in the year. So there will be some opportunities to review the network.
Could you explain what kind of transportation? That we could be kind of clear. Will it be taking seniors home or just to their senior center? And please, could you kind of be direct that I want to see where I could fit in if we don't have access for them to go directly back home or?
Well, I'm not going to get into the weeds on that only because we know the RFP process is a competitive process, and there'll be a
But
lot.
it's in there.
There are things that are in there that once the RFP comes out, it would be better to review it and then see where you fit in. So I really don't want to intervene too much in that process, so that it does remain fair and equitable to all. Assessor Ride is a state-run program, so there's not much that we can say about that right now. But I will say that we have written 3 letters to MTA advocating for Assessor Ride for older adults. So that should be helpful. And as you know, there is a citywide focus. You know, our mayor has been very vocal about fast and free bus service and other things that would assist not just all New Yorkers, but definitely our older New Yorkers who oftentimes prefer to use bus service as opposed to subway service. So there are some opportunities there. And then lastly, I'll say on the issue of playing spades. I might have to
Play
join
some
you one day. I
mahjong,
haven't
too.
played for a while.
Okay. We have a place for mahjong now from 2 to 5 at
Oh,
a
wonderful.
community restaurant. So anybody play mahjong, please call my office. I need more. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And also, I want to ask questions about digital related and technical questions. How many older adult centers have implemented the digital literacy program required under Local Law 82 of 2023? And what metrics NYC agent use evaluate whether it's reducing isolation?
Well, as you know, it is a focus area for us to try to increase the use of technology where possible because it does help to connect older New Yorkers with the rest of the world and really helps to combat social isolation and loneliness. But we do have some data on that too. We know that technology access does vary across the borough. For computer ownership with internet, our residents ranked highest to lowest, Manhattan at 73.1%, Staten Island at 71.9%, Brooklyn at 67.7%, and then the Bronx at 67.3%, and Queens at 61.3%. And there are also variations in home internet availability by age. But overall, New York City Aging's OACs and other services are able to stand in where there's a lack of internet access. As always, we know that those who are marginalized and underserved communities, historically disadvantaged groups, may have less access. So this is an area of concern that I think the council's partnership and citywide partnership will be needed.
Why the Queens only 61%? Do you know what's the reason they're much lower?
No, I don't know what's the reason that they're much lower, but it could be something that we should look into. I would imagine that it does have something to do with what we've mentioned earlier, that some of these communities are more marginalized and experience higher rates of poverty and may not have internet access based on that.
That's a joke I always make with my Asian colleagues. I said, Queens, Queens has the largest Asian population, but Brooklyn has the largest Chinese population. That means I believe Queens has more language access needs. Probably that's one of the reasons. I don't have the data, but this is what I feel. Maybe that's one of the reasons, because there's very limited language access. Even in Brooklyn, we have large Asian population, but the majority is Chinese. But the Queens is very different. Queens has Korean, Thai, Filipino, like everyone from Asia. But in Brooklyn, we are more concentrate Chinese speaking. And also, do you guys know any plan the language related advertising online? I recently see a lot of advertising about immigration in Chinese, but in Facebook. Chinese in generally, especially for the ones only read Chinese, they don't go to Facebook. Usually they go to WeChat, but there's no advertising on WeChat, the platform. That is one example of minority groups. They don't, even there's a language access for the internet literacy, but they still don't get the information because it's advertising in wrong platform. This is the issue there, I see. I haven't seen any advertising for senior literacy in Facebook in different language because I read Chinese too. But I did not see that in Chinese speaking senior, the platform they usually use, WeChat group. I would like to have administration do more research about different platform. I know Korean use different platform, Latino use different platform. Every culturally sensed group, they use different platform. But for our city, everything is in Facebook, Instagram, doesn't really serve the purpose there.
And it's a great point, and we would welcome additional partnership with the council on this issue, because obviously if we could increase the use of technology to assist or facilitate some of these language barriers, it would help our older adults as well. So definitely, this is an area that I think that we can join forces on to be sure that we are representing all and including all.
Yeah, I see a lot of senior centers, especially I see in my districts, they have the language access, help seniors and also serve the seniors. Even my Jewish senior center, they have people particularly speak Chinese to serve Chinese community, and also speak Russian, speak Spanish. They serve everyone. This is, I'm very proud the service they provide, and I appreciate the work NYC agent did in our community. But I just feel for the literacy in different language not published in their platform, like say Russian speaking seniors, the radio station they always hear is they told me 620 radio station, and the Chinese they don't hear, they don't go to Facebook, but the advertising is in Facebook. So even its language have the language access, but it's not really put in the platform for those group of people. I think there's more work to be done over there. And what steps NYC agent taking to support immigrant older adults who report the programs not linguistically accessible and culturally appropriate?
Well, at every one of our centers, first of all, there is no focus on any one group. We welcome all. Anyone that's 60 and over can report to our centers, and we do provide culturally sensitive programming at every one of the sites. So if an older New Yorker does present and does not speak English, we can communicate with them at the center in their local community.
Thank you. Is there any research you guys doing related to the community, what language they speak, what senior center, what language they have to provide? Like say my neighborhood majority speak Russian, Chinese,
Right.
Spanish. My neighborhood did a pretty good job. But how about the other neighborhood? Do we have data to show any requirement for those senior centers?
I can't comment on senior centers, but I can say that generally when we have our RFPs, we do share information in terms of language and culture for particular areas so that the providers that are applying are aware and can demonstrate how they'll serve those populations.
And I'd like to bring you back. I know that we do have information because it has been included in our previous RFPs, which languages in the particular communities that we have OACs. So we'll bring you some additional information on that because it is a focus area for us and always a concern that we are being very sensitive to the cultures that are represented in every community we serve.
Thank you. And we joined by Council Member Encarnacion. She has a statement to make.
Sure.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Chair, for recognizing me. And I know you were kind of going down a road, which I actually approve of this road. But I, as many of you know, I'm introducing a piece of legislation today. I'm also a part of the Public Housing Committee, which is right next door, so I had to run over. So I'll make this brief. But I did want to take the moment to talk about this piece of legislation around extreme weather emergencies, especially since we've experienced so many this past winter, and knowing that they pose a clear and urgent threat to some of our most vulnerable members of the community, our older adults. For many of our seniors, these conditions are not merely uncomfortable, they're life-threatening. Seniors, particularly those who live alone or have limited mobility, are more likely to experience chronic health conditions, social isolation, and barriers to accessing timely assistance. So during these emergencies, these challenges are compounded, leaving too many without the ability to seek relief, access critical resources, or respond quickly to rapidly changing conditions. This is precisely why it's necessary that we introduce this legislation now. And this legislation represents a proactive, compassionate approach to safeguarding the health and dignity of those who would otherwise slip through the cracks in our city services. By establishing regular wellness checks for seniors living alone or exclusively with other seniors, we empower city agencies to prevent tragedy before it occurs. These check-ins help older adults maintain their independence while ensuring that they remain connected to essential services and support systems. At the same time, the initiative equips NYC Aging, I hope, with the tools to better identify and monitor individuals at risk of social isolation, declining mental health, or deteriorating physical health. With improved data collection and coordination, NYC Aging will be better positioned to deliver targeted, timely services to those who need them the most. I just, again, want to thank the chair for allowing me to introduce this today and to thank the speaker also for entrusting me in getting this through the finish line, and for everyone who will hopefully sign on to this piece of legislation and get us there. Thank you.
Thank you. We have some questions follow with the statement. Does NYC Agent support this legislation?
As mentioned in my earlier testimony, we do align with the spirit of this introduction.
Do provider maintain standard operation procedures for outreach to older adults during cold blue alert, cold red alert? If so, what are they?
Absolutely. We have many different areas in which we interact with our older New Yorkers to make sure that they're in good condition during these types of events. And as mentioned earlier, we did perform 16,400 wellness checks during that critical period where we did have the extreme cold last year. So in addition to that, we do have our case management services where we do have our case managers that check on their clients. We have our home delivered meals program where you do have that interaction on a daily basis during emergency events. And this is an area that we are also looking to expand because one of the things that we noticed during the extreme cold was that you have our homebound older New Yorkers that are served through the delivery process. But then some of the sites, they weren't accessible because of the fact that it was so cold and that, the snow was piled high, and folks were concerned about ambulating or being out walking around in that. So we also want to include a provision where we can look at where we have these types of issues. And I want to commend you, Chair. At one of your sites, they also mentioned that the providers there actually got into their private vehicles and made sure they went out and checked on the seniors who were not able to get to the OAC. But we want to have more of a structured approach from New York City Aging so that we too can get to those older adults that maybe cannot access during cold weather. So in addition to that, we have the Friendly Visiting Program, our caregiving program, and I'm sure most of you have seen our really great caregiver campaign that has rolled out across the city, as well as Aging Connect. And our Aging Connect, we also will have messaging proactively to advise older adults of where we have warming centers or other supports that they can access.
Thank you. And also, from your experience, I believe you will do well, but what the coordination currently exists between DFTA and the New York City emergency management during extreme weather events?
Well, we are very, very strong partners, as you know. We do partner not only with Nycc, but also with all of the other city agencies to ensure that our older adults have everything that they need to be able to navigate through any extreme weather event or any other impacts that may be due to an emergency management situation in New York City.
Is any particular person will sign on this type of events? In DFTA probably yes, but in city emergency management, especially for seniors.
Absolutely, because you would activate a citywide command center if we did have an event like that. And every one of our agencies does have a liaison that would address emergency management for all New Yorkers and specifically also for older adults.
Okay. What change has DFTA made protocol following recent heat wave or recent cold snap and snowstorm?
Well, I've had the opportunity to review our programs, and as I mentioned, one change is that we do want to have a more robust approach to making sure that we can get meals to older adults that attend the OACs, not just the home delivered meals program, but also if there are any supports that are needed for that program to do that. And also, we are proactively preparing right now for the heating season. So one thing we've done already is we've activated a pre-season checklist where we're looking at each one of our sites, and we've had our provider network report to us on where they are with preparedness for heat for the summertime. And we have a 96% response rate right now. And over the next week or so, we'll be focusing on that 4% because I suspect that they may need some additional supports, and those will be the focal areas for us at this time.
Thank you. And also, before, in my district, before the storm, we had a nonprofit donate 200 meals. Right before the storm, extremely cold, we had close to 250 people showed up, want the meal, and we don't have enough. That shows the city has a strong needs, especially before those storms. Do you have any plan for summer when it's so hot, but people have to wait outside to get to their meal?
Well, we're operating cooling centers throughout the city, so this hopefully will not impact our older adults in New York City because we expect them to be inside at the cooling center. But certainly, we are always partnering with the council in relation to food insecurity, and we certainly want to make sure that anyone who needs a meal that qualifies for it, 60 or older, that New York City Aging is responding to that need.
Because the issue I see is, like, say, food pantry in my district, no matter it's how hot or how cold, always has 200 at least 200 people waiting in the line. No matter what food they give, the food and security is definitely a big issue. If they don't have enough food, no matter how cold and how hot the weather is, they always wait outside and wait in the line. We did the food pantry last year, close to 100 degree. 3 hours I was outside with my volunteers. Still people wait. The food pantry start 11 o'clock. People come to start line up at 7. And if the weather is extremely hot, I really worry about those. Majority are seniors, people at risk. The city how do we gonna deal with, and how do we help? Do we able to provide food directly inside the cooling center? Probably this is something we should consider together.
Definitely we should work on this together, but I will give you my opinion as an emergency manager. There really is no reason for us to wait for the hottest period of the day to distribute meals. It could be done at a cooler period of the day. So you could potentially hand out the meals a little earlier than noon, when we know that it's going to be sweltering and, folks are standing out there. There could be a way to do that. So that would be my opinion as an emergency manager, but definitely we welcome the partnership.
I think that's good advice. We'll talk to the nonprofits, see if they can do that. Actually, it will be helpful.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then Chair Mealy has more questions.
Yes, thank you. I just have one really, and to piggyback on food insecurity, I think that something must be done to give more CBOs more money to make sure that I have in my district, they come 6, 7 a.m. in the morning from Queens, because this one center rescue mission give chicken, turkeys, meatloaf, everything. And they got it down to a science, a different program. So I'm gonna learn their program and see if we can do it at every center. But they should not be waiting that long online. And one other thing I gotta ask, food insecurity, why do seniors still have to pay to get lunch, even breakfast, $2 or $3? I still have issues. Senior Center just went to an event that I know I gave about $50,000 to, and they had to pay $125 to go on this event, bus ride for the Senior Center. Something has to change with that. But my question is, does NYC, and I was doing an interview and one of the seniors brought it up. That kicked me under the bus. But asking why they had to pay $125 to go to Ace in the Hole or something like that. Please, I never heard of it, but I want to attend one day. Does NYC agent track how many older adults stop attending programs due to mobility decline or fear of falling or lack of accessible transportation? If not, what would be the barriers to tracking such information?
Well, thank you again for your questions, Councilmember Mealy. We did address the issues of mobility a little earlier in our testimony and also in our interaction here. And again, it's not something that we directly track, but we did share the information that we have on that. There's no barrier to following up with our older adults, the ones that are known to us, regarding their mobility issues. And certainly it's something that we would welcome a partnership with you on. So thank you for bringing that up again. I also want to talk about the issue of the wait time, because again, I just want to clarify that folks are not waiting that long for New York City aging meals. These are food pantries that you are referring to, which fall outside of our aegis. But again, we welcome a partnership with you if any of our older adults are being impacted by this. Certainly it's something that we want to ensure that they don't have to experience. So we welcome that. And lastly, on the issue of the suggested donation, and I know we spoke about this privately. We've spoken about this at the last hearing. And certainly glad to hear that, it's something that you hold close to your heart and you will continue to work. On our part, though, we're at the point where that suggested donation, certainly no older adult in the city is required to pay anything for any of the meals that are offered by NYC Aging. However, there is a rule for a suggested donation. Now, what we've looked at, obviously, we've been out in the community and we're visiting all of the older adult centers. And what we've noticed is perhaps sometimes the placement of that sign that speaks to the suggested donation may be in a place that's too conspicuous, because we don't want any older adult to be discouraged from attending or thinking that others will notice if they donate or they don't donate. So that's what we're looking at right now, just to ensure that folks understand that this is a welcoming environment, that they're able to get a meal without giving anything. However, there is a suggested donation, and if they're willing to give something, they can.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. And let's go to mental health issues. How many older adults were referred to mental health service through older adult center, case management agencies, or NYC Wells in the last fiscal year compared to the last 3 fiscal year?
So we generally don't track where older adults are referred from. And overall, in FY25, the geriatric mental health program served 6,594 older adults, with 1,419 receiving clinical services.
So there's no way to know which seniors, because I went to a couple of senior center. The provider worked there, and the senior actually told me they did not know they need mental health service. And if the service is on site, senior feel more comfortable to go to those services. I also talked to one of my colleagues about the homeless issue, especially for older adults. The homeless issue, a lot of us, we are in the street. We talk to the people who are homeless. A lot of time they have home. They have family. Their family bring the meal to where they choose to be homeless. And a lot of time those people, because of mental health issue, and we try to help to get those people go back home. They don't want to. But the mental health issue, if not addressed in the senior center or where they often go, the service they will never choose, because no one wants to tell people I have mental health issue. If I need mental health, probably I don't want to tell people either. They feel embarrassed. If we have those mental health service in the centers or wherever the seniors go to hang out, probably will serve them better. One of the senior center people said, the mental service program told me, we go where they go. We serve where they are, not they have to come to find us. That will be more effective. I would like to see how many senior centers have this type of service.
And we can give you the numbers on that, because we do have licensed clinicians that are placed in our centers just for that reason. We don't want any older adult to be stigmatized or to feel as if they're embarrassed to seek services. So we come to where they are, we meet them where they are, to be sure that we can offer the services to our older adults.
Yeah, we just like to know what's the percentage of senior centers offer this type of service.
Absolutely, and we will provide that for you.
Okay, thank you. How is NYC Aging integrating social isolation screening into case management assessment? We'll go back to senior center again, friendly visiting or wellness checks.
So as part of the case management assessment, they assess for loneliness and social isolation. And if a client is lonely, socially isolated, one of the resources they can refer to is our Friendly Visiting Program. Our Friendly Visiting Program also assesses for loneliness and social isolation. And when a client is matched with a volunteer, they repeat that assessment again 6 months later to see where there's improvement.
And how many older adults are comfortable using hotline or digital platform? How is NYC Aging investing in literacy access mental health service that help that in adult senior center or NORCs or home-based programs?
So a few things. I just want to go back one moment and just mention again that we're always seeking additional volunteers for our Friendly Visiting Program. And as I noted before, folks that would like to assist in this process can call us at Aging Connect, 212 Aging New York City, or 212-244-6469. We have shortages in areas, particularly like the South Bronx, where we could use additional assistance there. So I want to talk
Say
about
that number again.
212 Aging NYC or 212-244-6469.
How many phone calls you guys receive?
Well, we receive approximately 800 or so calls to our Aging Connect program every day, over the month. So we do have folks that are calling in to seek additional supports, and we provide those supports to the folks that have called in for assistance. There's always more work to be done on really getting more data as to how many of our older New Yorkers actually require these services. So it is a focal area for us, and we would like to present more data in the future on that as well.
How many people work to receive that 800 phone calls every month?
Excuse me, I have to go back. It's 800 a week
800 a week.
for those calls.
How many people work there to
We
handle
have
800?
seven full-time workers there right now. And we're looking at those 7 full-time because we actually want to expand the hours for Aging Connect. So that's something that we will bring you more information on as well, because we really feel as if we'd like to have more service hours available and live persons, as opposed to providing answering services, which we do have later on, along with messaging after hours and on weekends.
So if there's a person need a language support, do they still able to call this phone number?
They can call that number 24/7. Our preference would be to have live persons as much as possible. So that's where we're putting the emphasis at this point. But they can call 24/7. They will get information on how they can move forward with whatever need they have.
Okay, thank you. And for the language access, they can be in any language?
Well, there are many languages that are known to us, and we do have a language bank as well. So far, we haven't identified any languages that we have not been able to meet. So I would say it's multilingual at this point. And if there's a need to add additional languages, then we can do that as well.
Thank you. And how does NYC Aging evaluate whether friendly visits, home delivered meals, and the case management are efficiently reducing isolation rather than simply providing a service touch point?
So, as I mentioned, there's an assessment that case management does.
It's not on.
Microphone.
As I mentioned, there's an assessment that the case management agency does to assess for loneliness and isolation. And then based on the needs of the client, they could be referred to our Friendly Visiting Program. Again, there's another assessment that's done there. And they'll reassess after 6 months of a continuous match with a volunteer to see where there is improvement.
Are older adult centers required to conduct wellness checks? And what do they do during holidays?
Yes, they do. They are required to conduct wellness checks. And during holidays, they do make sure that they have proactively assessed any of our older adults that may have needs, and those needs are referred back to New York City Aging, and we make sure that they're met.
What gaps have been identified by NYC aging provider regarding isolation during winter months, and how is NYC aging addressing them?
Well, as we mentioned earlier, there are some gaps, and one of the gaps that we are trying to work on now has to do with the delivery of the meals, as I mentioned, during inclement weather, and some of the barriers that were faced across the entire city, but also are more pronounced in our older New Yorkers. So working to enhance that network to be sure that we're able to get to our older New Yorkers when there is an issue, and also, again, proactively preparing them when we have advance notice of an event so that they are prepared to continue their daily living.
And of more than 200,000 older adults served by NYC Aging and its providers in FY 2024, how many receive no ongoing relationship-based service, such as a friendly visit, a support group, and they instead have only transactional or one-time interaction?
So I can comment on friendly visiting. Approximately 1,200 unduplicated clients were served as part of that program. And these are clients who are also part of the case management program. Some of your other questions, I feel like we have to get back to.
So, how many received the no ongoing relationship-based services, and they instead have only one-time interaction? Some people just have one-time interaction. Sometimes people have ongoing every single day. Someone go there, deliver meal.
Well, we aren't tracking how many come just for one meal, but I would say we would rather focus on having that one meal when they need it. So ensuring that we have access, open access to anyone that qualifies for a meal, I think for New York City Aging is more of a focal point. And then our older adults have the right to choose. Perhaps they may come in for one meal and they may decide that they want to go to another site, or they may decide that they would prefer to have their meals at home. So it's difficult to track those that are moving because of preference.
Do we have a percentage number? Like what's the percentage people have ongoing service? What's the percentage people only have one-time service?
As my associate mentioned, then we'll have to try to dig into the numbers and bring them back if that's available.
Okay. Okay, let's go to Council Member Lee's bill. Does NYC Aging support this legislation? Council Member Lee's legislation require Department of Aging to maintain non-digital access to forms and services.
As mentioned earlier, yes, we do support the intent of this introduction. Any bill that would make it easier for our older adults to be able to access services, we will actively support.
Can you describe the current extent to which NYC Aging services and the form are only accessible online? Do you have anything only accessible online, not in paper?
Not to my knowledge. Again, we will perform another assessment, but we typically try to make forms available in as many modalities as possible. And as you know, we have a very robust network of navigators and folks that will assist older New Yorkers to be able to prepare and complete forms. So oftentimes that's also on paper. So I would say at this point that we're making every effort to make sure that whether it's online or in paper, our older adults are able to access services.
What outreach strategy does NYC Aging and the partners used to ensure older adults know they can access service without using internet?
Well, at our OACs, we do emphasize the fact that that our older adults can be assisted without internet service to be able to complete and access any forms or services. So it is something that we actively, as I mentioned earlier, support, and will continue to do so.
Thank you, Commissioner. Do you have more questions? Okay. I ask all the questions I want to ask. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Looking forward to playing spades.
Ready? Now, I now open hearing for public testimony. I want to remind members of the public that this is a government proceeding and the decorum shall be observed at all time. As such, members of public shall remain silent at all time. The witness table is reserved for people who wish to testify. No video recording or photography is allowed from the witness table. Further, member of the public may not present audio or video recordings as testimony, but may submit transcripts of such recording to the sergeant at arms for including in the hearing record. If you wish to speak at today's hearing, please fill out an appearance card with sergeant at arms and wait to recognize. When recognized, you will have 2 minutes to speak on the oversight topic addressing social isolation among older New Yorkers. If you have a witness statement or additional written testimony you wish to submit for the record, please provide a copy of the testimony to Sergeant at Arms. You may also email written testimony to testimony@council.nyc.gov. Within 72 hours of this hearing, audio and video recordings will not be accepted. The first panel, Gail Horrocks, Fritz Valmy, Teresa Lin, Mark Meredy. Baking.
Thank you for the opportunity to testify today. My name is Gail Horowitz, and I'm the CEO of JASA. Addressing social isolation requires strengthening the infrastructure of connection across the entire aging services system. OACs, NORC programs, and affordable senior housing are among the city's most effective tools to combat isolation. They provide routine, accessible opportunities for connection, engagement, and support, and they work because they are place-based, consistent, and trusted, but they require greater flexibility and investment to serve a diverse and growing older adult population. Affordable senior housing in particular plays a dual role, addressing the housing crisis while combating isolation. At our sites, we foster vibrant, connected communities that support successful aging in place. Through our residential services programs, 1,089 residents received benefits last year, benefits assistance, 577 received home visits, and 533 people received housing stability assistance. Initiatives like New York City Aging's Pop-Up Cafe show that combining meals, programming, and social engagement within senior housing can significantly reduce isolation, especially for those with mobility challenges. And investing in affordable housing is cost-effective, reducing the need for premature and costly nursing home placement. I just have a little bit more. At the same time, many of the most isolated older adults never walk through the doors of an OAC or NORC, nor live in affordable housing. To reach them, JASA launched JASA Chat, pairing volunteers with clients for weekly calls. 98% of participants reported improved well-being. We've also launched JASA Cakes because too many older adults spend their birthdays alone. Every home-delivered meal client, nearly 2,700 people will receive a birthday celebration this year. Outreach must be funded as essential infrastructure, not an add-on. And my last topic is social isolation is closely linked to depression, anxiety, and cognitive decline. At JASA, meaningful engagement is often the first step toward improved mental health. Our geriatric mental health clinic provided 5,000 hours of services last year, but we could reach so many more. Programs that embed mental health services within OACs and community settings are particularly effective because they reduce stigma and meet people where they are. They should expand investment in these, the city should expand investment in these integrated models. Social isolation is preventable, but only with intentional investment in outreach, flexible community-based models, and integrated mental health services. Thank you.
Chair, can I have a?
Yes, I have a full, really detailed.
Chairperson Zwang and members of the committee. Chairperson Zwang and members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. My name is Mark Merity, and I'm the Executive Director of DeRote in Manhattan. DeRote was founded 50 years ago with the sole mission of alleviating social isolation and loneliness among older adults. We're unique among nonprofits in that building meaningful social connections is not simply part of what we do, it's built into everything we do. Every program we offer is designed to help older adults build social connections with others and to feel a sense of purpose and belonging. The challenge is that social connection is an underappreciated factor in measuring one's overall health and well-being. That's despite the fact that feeling socially connected, regardless of one's age, helps us thrive, even when faced with other physical and emotional challenges. What we've learned at DeRote is that there are many effective ways to build meaningful social connections. This includes programming that is in person or conducted virtually or over the telephone. Regardless of the modality, the unifying factor in all of our programming is that we are highly intentional and focused on building meaningful connections, and we know that we are making a profound difference. However, there is simply not enough attention paid at the city, state, or federal levels to the importance of an individual's social health and well-being. Therefore, it is imperative that the city create an effective strategy to build and support a stronger social infrastructure. The key to easing social isolation and loneliness is putting meaningful connection at the heart of as many programs as possible and providing the resources and flexibility to reach people in a multitude of ways. I am grateful that the Committee on Aging is focused on easing social isolation among New York's older adults. We at DeRote are happy to assist in any way that we can. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Chair Zhang and members of the Committee on Aging, thank you for the opportunity to testify today. My name is Teresa Lin. I'm the VP of Cultural Market Development at VNS Health. We applaud the Council for its leadership in addressing social isolation among older New Yorkers and for its continued investment in programs that keep older adults connected to their communities. For more than 130 years, VNS Health has supported New Yorkers in living and aging at home. Today, we serve over 117,000 individuals annually across New York. The average age of those we serve is 72. And in 2024 alone, we care for more than 1,150 New Yorkers over the age of 100. Our mission is to ensure older adults can age safely, independently, and with dignity. For many older adults, we're the first place they turn for help and often the only place they know to turn. We help them navigate complex systems, access benefits, and stay connected to care and community. We do this through several key programs. In Brooklyn, our personal care services provide hands-on support that allows older adults to remain safely at home. We're proud to serve as the city's partner delivering the program in Brooklyn. Through our naturally occurring retirement community nursing program, we bring clinical care directly into residential buildings and neighborhoods. We're grateful to the Council for its continued support of this program, which allows our nurses to help older adults manage chronic conditions and age in place. Our community centers are often where trust begins. One woman who came to our Sunset Park Community Center immigrated from China and was as a home health aide. She came to the center looking for help applying for SNAP and understanding how to complete the application. Can I continue? Okay, thank you. Because our staff spoke her language, they were able to walk through the process step by step and help her understand important documents. She shared that this made her feel respected and supported, and this ultimately inspired her to come back and volunteer to help others. And through our older adult mental health initiative, we provide in-home and community-based mental health services for older adults who are homebound and would otherwise go without care. We're grateful for the Council's support in helping expand access to these critical services. Together, these programs ensure that aging in place does not mean aging alone. Thank you for your continued partnership and commitment to older New Yorkers.
Good morning, council members. My name is Fritz Valmain. I'm here to represent the Sharing Network. And the Sharing Network was founded during the pandemic. And we realized that there were a lot of seniors in isolation. And we started providing meals and services to those seniors. And then we also realized that a lot of those seniors were shut in. And we developed programming to assist those seniors. Part of that programming is, services in the form of podcasting, where we put on shows for seniors, and it's all auditory, so they don't necessarily have to have a computer. All that they need is to have a telephone, whether or not that's wide or mobile. And the programmings are approximately an hour each, where we do everything from church services, Bible studies, to programming when it comes to media, just speaking where older adults can get together and just have conversations. One of the programs that we offer is, we make programming available for seniors about African American history, about African American politics, where we discuss the politics of the day, where we discuss our history, our heritage, and we discuss the political climate and how we can get more involved with what's going on. And we found that it is extremely helpful in helping people come out of isolation. A lot of people are not ambulatory, where they're able to come out of their homes, but they can pick up the telephone and have a conversation and build community through that. And we're very thankful to the council for their assistance. And we're hoping that we can branch out and support more people in the Brooklyn community and hopefully Queens and elsewhere.
Thank you. Can you mute? Thank you. I want to thank everyone to come to testify. I do have some questions. Don't go yet. I want to thank Jasa. Recently, I personally saw in my office, you guys helped the seniors in my district. A senior, almost every single senior coming into my door, they ask for senior housing. Recently, one of our constituents got senior housing from Jasa. For building more senior housing, we see in New York City, everyone want to build the other type of housing, but very few want to build senior housing. What's the most barrier there? Yeah.
Turn on mic. I've got to turn my mic back on. One of the barriers to additional senior housing is obviously we need we need housing for everybody. So the funding streams to build senior housing are as challenging as the funding streams to build multi-generational housing. One of the things that's been successful over the last couple of years is the SARA funding. And the SARA funding has allowed us to take formerly homeless seniors and place them in senior housing. And we've partnered with developers to be able to build that housing. And what we have found because of those services in the building is that while it's not just the formerly homeless seniors that need help, everybody in the building needs help. And just by our presence being there has really helped to enable more people to have services. The other issue that's going to be a challenge, as I understand it, is Section 8 funding, and a lot of our projects are Section 8 funding is drying up. So that's going to continue to make it a problem and challenging to build more senior housing.
So what's I know the SARA program. How long is the wait for the SARA program?
So the SARA program, I mean, we have, when we do our lotteries at our buildings or some of these SARA buildings, we could have waiting lists of 25,000 people that sign up, and the waiting list is incredibly long. So it's a huge challenge. And I think that homeless seniors are not well recognized necessarily, and there are a lot more in the city than anybody realizes. Limited fixed incomes, mental health issues have led to a lot of people ending up homeless.
Thank you. And also for the SARA program, if you saying JASA start today, apply SARA program, how long take you to get approved?
Well, actually, we are currently right now in several projects where we would be the SARA provider. And I started at JASA last July, so I've only been around about 8 months, and there are several applications that went in for projects 8 months ago, and we're still waiting.
Waiting. What's the average wait time?
You know what? I'd have to get back to you on that. I'm not 100% sure, but I can just anecdotally tell you.
Okay, thank you. And also, I appreciate everyone providing. I think your program probably can not only for seniors, for everyone. I want to learn African American history and the politics also.
Love to invite you to one of our programs.
Thank you. And also, I know VNS has been doing tremendous work in my district, and I want to thank everyone come to testify. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I have a question?
Yeah, oh, yes, sorry, Chair.
Thank you, everyone. Is it BMS?
It's
VNS.
VNS. Used to be called Visiting Nurse Service of New York as VNS Health. Yes.
Okay, health. Thank you for. And caring and sharing. What's your program? I couldn't really hear
Oh.
it, sir. The young man.
Oh, it's the sharing network. I'm sorry, I'm
Okay,
not well
sharing
today.
network. I would love to start something with current events. I put funding in to just have someone read to our seniors the newspapers to keep them abreast of what's going on all over the world. So please invite me too. I would love to come when you go.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
thank you for all that you do. Thank
Great,
you.
thank you.
And Jassa, could you explain a little more about your network? Because I love it. We should do it with every senior center. That y'all have like a Zoom, not a Zoom, but a telephone
Oh,
conversation.
JASA Chat, you mean?
Say it again.
It's called JASA Chat.
Yeah.
And so we actually take volunteers and we pair them with seniors across our network. And we serve about 40,000 seniors. There are not 40,000 people in JASA Chat. There are about 600. And we've been doing it for 6 years. And we pair an individual with a senior and they have weekly phone calls. And it changes both lives, not just a senior.
Okay, that's good. And then during inclement weather, they could call each other to make
It's
sure.
no
they
matter
do-
what, it happens.
So thank you. I'm gonna expand a little bit more on that.
Thank
soon.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Next panel. We have Erin Raiden, Jordana Weber, Bill Gross, Emma Lance-Bessier.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Erin Redden, and I'm the regional leader at one of our neighborhood care sites. And I would like to thank Chair Zhang and all the members of the Committee on Aging for holding this hearing. Emblem Health is a nonprofit health plan serving more than 2 million New Yorkers. We operate 15 neighborhood care centers where we provide free support, connection to resources, and programming to all community members. Emblem Health supports this legislation under consideration today and has implemented several programs to improve access to resources and support for older adults. We recently launched a weather resilience program that uses New York City's Heat Vulnerability Index and our clinical data to provide personalized messages to at-risk members during heat waves. Interactions are triaged and escalated to our care management team. This program is actually expanding to address poor air quality, extreme cold, and then flu vaccine alerts as well. At Neighborhood Care, over 23% of individuals we serve are older adults, 45% of whom are repeat visitors to our sites. We know the importance of building trust and fostering safe social spaces. We recently began hosting lunch socials that combine health education, activities, and connection. These lunches complement our other popular classes such as chair yoga, art therapy, and cell phone literacy. The relationships we build are really unique, and we see folks coming in for help going through their mail, right? Looking at bills, things like that, finding medical appointments, or even just stopping by to say hello. One class participant said recently, I had been heading down a path of isolation, but now I'm beginning to feel like my old self. I have a new lease on life. And really, at our neighborhood care sites, we have implemented grant programs tailored to the needs of older adults at 4 of our sites, thanks to Deputy Speaker Williams and Council members Hudson, Salam, and Feliz. We also recently hosted a webinar on rethinking aging, bringing expert guidance directly to the community. We know firsthand how tailored programming can create opportunities for older adults to thrive and live more independently, and we really look forward to continuing to work with the City Council on improving the health and well-being of New Yorkers. So thank you for having us here today.
Good morning. I'm Jordana Weber, Chief Program Officer at Service Program for Older People, or SPOP. Thank you, Chair Zhuang, for holding this oversight hearing on the social isolation of older New Yorkers. I'm grateful for the opportunity to address the Committee on Aging today. SPOT plays a unique role in supporting the health and emotional well-being and independence of older adults, and we've done so for more than 45 years. We are the only agency in the city that is exclusively dedicated to community-based mental health care for older adults. We provide outpatient treatment to over 1,000 people each year through individual and group therapy, assessments, medication management, and psychiatric rehabilitation. Older adults with mental health conditions are among the most susceptible to isolative living and isolative dying. Social health and human connection are essential in order for older adults to recover from illnesses, cope with systemic inequities, and restore mental health. Social contact is critical for stress management, and without it, older adults suffer. Social isolation can almost inevitably occur as runoff from mental health disorders, including anxiety and depressive disorders, a post-trauma response, or chronic serious mental illness like bipolar disorder and schizoaffective disorder. For those older adults that have cognitive decline and memory loss, isolation can be especially dire. One way to address the rampant social isolation that affects nearly 500,000 older New Yorkers is to foster a strong, unwavering partnership between NYC Aging Services and the NYC Department of Health and Mental Hygiene to provide social health care. Drawing on the resources of these two agencies, we can identify those most at risk of isolation, connect them to medical and mental health care services, and encourage participation in congregate activities at older adult centers. DFTA and DOHMH are well suited to address the gaps in care, and they can lead the city's response with data, empathy, and innovation. I'll wrap up. Social health care brings together mental health care and community care and leads to documented improvements in health and longevity. When you add in support for housing, meals, and transportation, you create a truly livable city for older adults. We urge the New York City Council Aging Committee to join forces with the Mental Health and Substance Use Committee through joint committee hearings and joint advocacy for robust funding that supports geriatric mental health programming. Thank you for your work on behalf of all older New Yorkers and for the opportunity to testify.
Good afternoon. My name is Bill Gross. I am the Chief Services Officer at SAGE, which is the nation's largest and oldest organization dedicated to improving the lives of LGBTQ+ older adults. We are happy to be here, and a special thank you to Chair Zhuang and Councilmember Hudson for their questions about the LGBTQ+ elder community earlier. Founded in New York in 1978, SAGE has been serving LGBTQ+ elders and older New Yorkers living with HIV for almost 5 decades now, providing comprehensive social services and community building programs through our network of LGBTQ+ welcoming older adult centers across New York City called SAGE Centers, which I think, Chair Zhuang, you referenced one of them earlier. For LGBTQ+ elders and older adults living with HIV, due to their lifetimes of stigma and discrimination, these communities are often disconnected from services and often severely isolated as well. Roughly 60% of LGBTQ+ older adults report feeling a lack of companionship, with transgender older adults reporting even higher levels. In a recent AARP survey of LGBTQ+ older adults, nearly 4 in 5 respondents were at least somewhat concerned about having social support as they age. Additionally, LGBTQ+ elders and people living with HIV have fewer familial supports for them to support in the general aging process. They are less likely to have spouses, children, or other relatives to depend on, and are more likely to live alone, which can impact caregiving. This is crazy. Nearly a quarter of LGBTQ+ older adults report they have no one to call in case of an emergency, and I can testify to that anecdotally at SAGE. City Council's steadfast support has helped SAGE to mitigate these challenges, and I really appreciate the opportunity to testify today.
Hello, and thank you for the opportunity to testify today on the topic of social isolation among older adults and for bringing this topic to City Council. My name is Emma Lenz-Basir, and I'm here testifying on behalf of City Meals on Wheels. We are an emergency food provider working to end elder hunger across all 5 boroughs through the funding of home-delivered meals on weekends, emergency food response, and supplemental food programs to the city's hungriest older adults. Social connection is of particular importance to City Meals due to the heightened rates of isolation among homebound older adults. Over a quarter of older New Yorkers live alone, according to the Center for Urban Future, and nearly 20% are living in poverty. Furthermore, 58% of home-delivered meal recipients reported living alone in FY25, and City Meals' own research found that 38% of participants reported loneliness as a problem for them, while 25% reported not knowing about the services available. So over the years, City Meals has expanded our work to include social connection programs as well as bringing social elements into our food programming. However, there's more to be done. Investment in existing services and expansion of others is vital in addressing this issue. The Older Adults Mental Health Initiative, previously called the Geriatric Mental Health Initiative, should be fully funded at $3.45 million in FY27 to destigmatize services and provide immediate interventions for older adults who are in need of mental health services. Additionally, the city must invest $10 million in naturally occurring retirement communities, or NORCs. We were glad to hear them mentioned earlier today in the hearing, to bring them to neighborhoods without one, so that more older adults are able to access the on-site nursing, health and social services, and civic engagement opportunities, which all can prevent social isolation. There must also be opportunities for those who are unable to access programs outside of their homes or online. City Meals 2024 research on older adult hunger found that a quarter of respondents did not have internet, and even among those who did, 20% preferred to go online as little as possible. As such, we support Intro 1630 to ensure that information on services is available in non-digital formats, such as by phone or on paper. I just finished my paragraph, thank you. As an emergency responder as well, we're supportive of any program that supports older adults during emergencies and increased funding to match that need. Our emergency programs are proactive and reactive. We pre-supply homebound older adults with meals before winter and summer begin, and also directly respond during emergencies, including weather-related and other emergencies. We thank the council for the opportunity to testify today and their efforts to support older adults through this hearing. So thank you, Councilmember Zhang. And we urge you to adequately fund the programs that older New Yorkers so desperately need.
Thank you. We need to ask a mayor to fund. We have some questions here. How are Medicaid work requirements inflect demanding for services?
Sorry, for Medicaid members?
Yeah,
you're asking?
Medicaid.
Yes. Well, so the nice thing about neighborhood care is that anyone can come in, whatever health insurance you have. But we're also uniquely aligned in that we have social workers and navigators that kind of help navigate the whole host of things that go awry in any New Yorker. So whether it's housing, whether it's food, we have a lot of food programming, whether it's food trucks, farmers markets, things like that. So Medicaid in particular, we're kind of uniquely positioned to help with that, in that we have obviously the actual health insurance program through Emblem Health, and then we also have a whole clinical team that can help kind of resolve any issues or help them get health care.
So it doesn't matter this person have what type of insurance.
No, anyone can come into neighborhood care. Yeah, we can obviously help members a little more, especially when it comes to finding providers, resolving claims issues, benefits questions. But we can help any New Yorker that comes into one of our 15 sites.
And I have a question for Sage. From the numbers we see, there's spatial, I think, higher demand and the needs for LGBTQ seniors. How many senior centers actually serve LGBTQ community in New York City? Is that?
Yeah, it's the 4 senior centers that Sage operates, which are in Harlem, in the Bronx, in Brooklyn, and in Chelsea. Those are our 4 senior centers that specialized for the LGBTQ plus aging community.
How much time each senior spend to travel to each senior center?
Well, to what you anecdotally mentioned earlier in the day, I mean, we're lucky in that we have senior centers in 3 out of the 5 boroughs, and we have strong partnerships in our other boroughs in Queens and in Staten Island to make sure that seniors there who are LGBT are being served. But that being said, we do find that, again, you had mentioned someone in the Bronx who is coming to Brooklyn for our Stonewall Senior Center. Sometimes they come to multiple centers in the day. Sometimes they come, our Chelsea Center serves dinner while the other ones serve lunch. So sometimes there is a bit of a rotation around there to get multiple meals within a day.
What's the service, like any transportation service you guys can help with those seniors?
We're not at this time able to offer transportation assistance. I appreciate the fact that in NYC Aging's new OAC RFP, they put a greater emphasis on transportation and the possibility of support there, but we don't currently have transportation support except through one of our programs for our trans population who experience greater rates of discrimination on the MTA, for instance. We do have additional opportunities for them in terms of transportation through that program.
I want to thank you and all the service you provide for
you.
our LGBTQ community. I think they actually need more assistance than the other community. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. We have next panel. We have Bridget Lee, Linda Holman, Anita Kwok. Ki Peng En.
Good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity to testify today. My name is Bridget Lee, and I'm here on behalf of the Weinberg Center for Elder Justice, an advocacy and resource center made up of a multidisciplinary team of elder justice experts. I'm here today to urge City Council to act on what we have learned from our work. Social isolation is not only a health issue, but an elder justice issue. According to the CDC, social isolation is one of the most significant risk factors for elder mistreatment. Older adults who lack consistent, meaningful connections are far less likely to report abuse when it happens. In fact, a New York State study revealed only 1 in 24 incidents of elder abuse is actually reported. We see this pattern repeatedly in our work. Through Speech, our consultation helpline, now operating across all 5 boroughs in partnership with the New York City Mayor's Office to end domestic and gender-based violence, we provide real-time expert consultations and action plans to service providers working with older adults experiencing mistreatment. Through this work, we witness firsthand that the longer an older adult has been isolated, the longer it takes for them to seek help. To address this on every call, we connect that older adult with community-based organizations that can provide the ongoing social connection they are missing. Research from the National Institute of Health has found that social isolation increases an older adult's vulnerability to financial exploitation and more than doubles an older adult's risk of falling for scams. According to FINRA, as isolation increases, older adults increasingly turn to the internet for social interaction, making them more susceptible to relational manipulation tactics scammers rely on. We urge the Council to support programs that build lasting social connection for older adults, particularly those who are medically fragile, have mobility impairments, or face other barriers. We encourage investment in community-based outreach, friendly visitor programs, and intergenerational programming that can reach older adults who have already fallen outside existing social networks. We also urge Council to take seriously the role of technology both as a threat and as an opportunity. Older adults age 60 and over reported almost $2.5 billion in fraud losses in 2024, a four-fold increase from 2020. The same technology that puts older adults at risk when properly supported and taught can also be what keeps them connected. Combating elder mistreatment requires more than responsive services. It requires a city in which older adults are seen, known, and connected to others who will notice when something is wrong. Older adults are present in every community in New York, and they deserve to be fully seen and protected. Thank you again for the opportunity to testify.
Thank you, Councilmember Duong, for convening this oversight hearing on social isolation among older adults. My name is Anita Kwok, a policy analyst at United Neighborhood Houses. Today, I'll be commenting on the pre-considered bills as well as some of our budget priorities. We support the concept of Councilmember Encarnacion's bill requiring wellness checks on older adults during emergencies, which our members already do. They do wellness checks on their clients on any weather-related emergency. During the last two snowstorms, one of our members had 6 staff calling over 1,500 members, and even with that, there's a disproportionate division of labor because different members have different language needs. And these calls are made on top of their regular work duties as well as duties that form as a result of weather emergency. This is not an anomaly, but it is the reality of community-based organizations and what emergencies look like under current staffing and funding levels. Codifying wellness checks without addressing this will only further strain the workforce, and the council must take into account the reality of the operations and compensation of the contracts across the aging service networks to add to emergency response. We also support Councilmember Linda Lee's bill. In early 2025, when the federal administration attempted to end over-the-phone identity verification for Social Security and instead requiring older adults to verify either online or in person, our aging service providers raised serious concerns because many of their older adults lack digital literacy and reliable access to the internet. And with the rapid development of the digital world, the city must provide multiple pathways to access. We also have been longtime champions of the council's older adult mental health initiative. This initiative funds mental health in community spaces where older adults gather, like senior centers, NORCs, and food pantries. And some of our members get really creative with this funding and create their own programs and special initiatives that are uniquely tailored to the needs of the older adults in the communities they serve. We're asking for $3.5 million in FY27. I also have more in my written testimony. Thank you for this opportunity.
Heard. Hi, I'm Linda Hoffman, president of New York Foundation for Senior Citizens, and I feel as though I'm speaking to the choir because I was back here in December. But when I saw that you were talking about loneliness, I knew that our home sharing and respite care program fit the bill. And I just want to renew what I've already said, which is that our home sharing program is implemented by social workers whose skills successfully match older adult hosts with space in their apartments and houses to share with guests in need of affordable housing. It's like a win-win. Does that provide loneliness solution? I think so. Same with respite care. Respite care also has our Masters of Social Worker staff who vet home care workers and match them with frail elderly who are struggling to live on their own and who are taken care of by relatives and others who may need some time off. And these are people on the Medicare level who, at least the respite care, who are living on fixed incomes and really can't afford to pay $40 an hour that are being charged now, I understand, by the private agency. So this funding really pays for the staff to do this type of work. And honestly, they relieve feelings of loneliness, depression, and at the same time provide affordable housing and help seniors maintain their homes and others to avoid institutionalization, both in homeless shelters and in nursing homes. So it's a win-win for everyone. And we're hoping that we're refunded again this year, that you'll be able to recognize that this program not only provides this housing that we've been talking about, and we've been told because we're going to try to build a building in Manhattan, and we've been told that the pipeline is now about 4 to 5 years in order to get the funding to move forward with it. So we're hoping that at least this, for a while, can provide the services that are needed to help relieve feelings of loneliness and depression and isolation, and at the cost per person of $3,900 per individual, a one-time cost, as opposed to building an apartment for $500,000 or $600,000. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Chair John and committee members. My name is Nycc. Thank you for giving me the chance to speak today. Before I joined the senior center, I stayed home most of the time. I felt really lonely. Some days I had nobody to talk to. It's very hard and very quiet. Homecrest OAC changed my life. Now I have friends. I can talk, laugh, enjoy activities. I can play ping pong, exercise, and stay healthy. I also volunteer at some community events. This makes me feel proud that I can help others. The center is not only the place for activities. It's a place where I think we belong. The staff care about us, and we care about each other. This is like a second home to me. Please continue to support older adult centers. Many seniors like me need a place to go, a place to make friends, and a place to feel we are not forgotten. Although we are old, but we still want to live with dignity, purpose, and connection. Please don't let seniors be invisible. Thank you.
Thank you. Very well speaked. I actually been Homecrest many times. I know how great job you guys doing there. I really appreciate Miss Linda Hoffman. I just wish if your program can implement everywhere, will reduce the number of housing issue and also loneliness issue. That's one shot, two birds. And I have question for Wimber Center for Older Justice. So here the data showed older adults age 60 and over reported $2.4 billion in fraud lost in 2024. Can you give me more detail, like what type of fraud? And then what's a way? It's online or it's over the phone?
It's a multitude of ways, I would say. Scams over the phone, romance scams on the internet are very prevalent, and caregivers, either family members or just someone in the home, most often is, embezzling money or stealing money from the older adult.
Is NYPD doing anything about it, or DA offices doing anything about it?
Yes, and we are advocates. We go to court and we fight on behalf of older adults to try to recover some money or just provide a sense of justice, but it's very, very difficult to get funds back.
What's the percentage of people able to get their money back?
I do not know the percentage, but I'm sure it's very, very low.
It's nationally fraud or is internally, like internationally? Because I see some fraud, people wire money outside the country.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's include a deed theft or what kind of?
This is nationally.
nationally?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. We definitely should address this issue.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the information. Thank you, everyone. My favorite person. The last panel we have Mo Resvi, Marcus Jackson, Terry Campuzano. Okay, Carmen Boko.
Okay. Thank you again, Chair Susan. The most important thing is I'm so glad that you were able to join us at the EAT event with our senior center. Secondly, as we were hearing earlier about the OAC centers to be a vital resource for during the winter or during the summer, we actually provide our seniors the food pantry bags at the center. And I would love for you and perhaps the commissioner to come by and see how it's done. So we have the food pantry, and then we're bringing the bags to our center for our seniors, so they don't have to wait online. Secondly, we were the second awarded in the competition of having the best food for our seniors, which was, I'm knock on wood, we were very happy about that, and we are the possibly only halal senior center that's funded by the city of New York. There are over 1 million Muslims in New York City, and many of them are, becoming seniors. And we would like to see how we can get other resources to expand on that model that we have, because we only have one truck, which is Halal Meals on Wheels, which goes to multiple community districts, and many people are calling us from Bronx, from Queens, from Staten Island, that they really need those services. So we're looking at, what's the next step? And we would love for you to advocate for us, and we'll advocate, wherever we have to, because many of these seniors, they don't go to other centers only because they're not able to eat the food, or they're not able to have their culturally appropriate games, all the activities that they want. But I look forward, and anywhere we can get some assistance, that'll be great. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Calvin Boko, and I'm the development manager at India Home. Thank you very much for holding this hearing and for the opportunity to testify. India Home is a leading nonprofit organization dedicated to serving the unique needs of older adults from South Asian and other immigrant communities across New York City. We run senior centers at 5 locations in Queens, Jamaica, Elmhurst, Flushing, Ozone Park, and Jamaica Estates since our founding in 2007. Our work ensures that immigrant seniors, often underserved and isolated, have access to the critical resources they need to age with dignity in their communities. Asian American and Pacific Islander New Yorkers represent 18% of the city's population, and their communities need access to health insurance, linguistic accessibility across institutions and agencies, childcare, domestic violence support, housing, so much more. The need for these resources often falls on the shoulders of community-based organizations and other nonprofits to fill the gap created by the city government, which we believe is an equity issue in the budget. So city initiative funding is so important to us at India Home because it helps us provide crucial support for New York's older adults to our programs. As an organization dedicated to serving immigrant older adults, we center our work around the commitment to provide culturally relevant, linguistically appropriate care. So initiative funding specifically through the AAPI Community Support, Communities of Color Nonprofit Stabilization Fund, and Older Adults Mental Health initiatives are critically important for our most vulnerable clients, such as our older adults with low to moderate dementia, which we serve through our DESI Dementia Daycare Program. We offer that 3 days a week in Jamaica. This is unique program. No other senior care center in New York offers culturally competent dementia care at no cost. We serve 30 unique individuals. We estimate that with transportation funding, we could double our attendance. So despite India Home having an older adult center contract, the contract covers a mere 67% of actual costs of just one of our 5 centers. And we ask council support and increase discretionary funding to meet the expanding need for services in Queens. And I'll wrap up. As a proud member of the 18% and Growing campaign, we urge the City Council to uplift the collective priorities of that campaign, which include expanding API community support to $7.5 million, Community and Colored Nonprofit Stabilization Fund to $10 million, and Access Health Initiative to $4.5 million. Thank you so much for your time and for the opportunity to testify.
Hello, my name is Terry Camposano. I'm the TA president of Meltzer Tower in the East Village, 94 East First Street. My problem is we're a standalone 20-story building in the East Village. We have a senior population. Now, I had been online last year between Nycc and DAFTA complaining about that our services from University Street Settlement were not adequate for our seniors. And there was a Zoom meeting, and I think Christopher Banks was on that, Representative Banks. So they were talking about how they visit all of the senior buildings and have met with the senior tenant associations and to find out if everything was fine with the services. And I had told them at the time that nobody has met with us. I have been involved with Marlene Shallow from DAFTA, and I explained to her the problem. So when our Zoom meeting happened with Nycc and DAFTA, and along with people from University Street Settlement, we just hit a roadblock. I have a senior population that is 70% Asian. We have Russian and Spanish. So a lot of the people don't speak English. And I was looking for more help from them as far as translations, because at our TA meetings, it's extremely hard to communicate unless we have live translation. So I'm going to reach out also to Harvey Epstein about that. The problem is also that University is in charge of their senior center at 189 Allen, which is Hernandez Houses. It's across Houston Street, which is a really busy street. A lot of our seniors are in wheelchairs, walkers, and it's difficult for them to get across the street over there. So at Hernandez, they have a cooking facility where they make lunch for the seniors. I am now trying to work with EV Love. They're a organization that makes food for the seniors or for just people in the community. They're located right now, they don't have a permanent kitchen, but they've done a wonderful job, and I'm going to get a nice food lunch for our seniors again. So there's a problem with University, and I've spoken to DAFTA, that being that University has 2 places in the vicinity of us, that their overflow usually comes into Meltzer Tower, and our people do not do Pilates, and they cannot do ballroom dancing, not their walkers. And I had complained to University about this, but being that they have both centers, there's not much we could do about it. So this is a problem for us. And now we are basically, because of security reasons and the damage to our building, we're basically almost being like, we have no choice but to go the Rad Pack route. So hopefully when we do that, we'll have a lot more services. But right now, this is the problem. Okay.
Good afternoon, committee. My name is Marcus Jackson. I'm the Director of Advocacy and Government Relations at Encore Community Services, one of the largest providers of services for older adults in New York City. Thank you for the opportunity of giving testimony today. At Encore, we see firsthand the impact of social isolation has on older adults. Too many older New Yorkers are disconnected from their communities and support systems due to limited mobility, chronic health conditions, and barriers to transportation and technology. For many, days can pass without meaningful human interaction. This kind of isolation has deadly consequences. It contributes to declining mental health and physical health, increases vulnerability, and can lead to death if their needs go unanswered. Addressing these issues of isolation will require consistent and reliable points of connection. As such, our home delivered meals are one of the most effective points of connection we have to reach older adults who are isolated. Encore provides hundreds of thousands of meals each year to older New Yorkers on Manhattan's West Side, including those who are homebound. With every delivery, we create a moment of human connection. Each time we ring a doorbell or knock on a door, we deliver a meal, we create a brief interaction, offer a familiar face, and take an opportunity to ensure someone is safe and supported. For many of the individuals we serve, this is their most consistent point of contact. Most delivery programs already function as essential informal wellness check systems, as we heard from many testimonies today, older adults across the city. They allow providers to identify needs early and respond to concerns with individuals who may otherwise be unreachable. So Encore supports Intro 0280, which would expand homebound meal access from 5 meals per week to every day of the calendar year. It's a critical step towards addressing both food insecurity and social isolation. Increasing the number of meals delivered each week increases the number of consistent touch points with older adults. More frequent deliveries mean more opportunities to check in and identify emerging needs and reduce the risk of associated prolonged isolation. In conclusion, we urge the Council to support Intro 0280 and continue to strengthen programs that ensure older New Yorkers remain connected, supported, and able to age in place with dignity. I'm happy to answer any questions and concerns you guys may have.
Thank you. I want to thank everyone coming to testify, and I appreciate all the work you guys doing in all the community centers, especially Mo. I can testify how good work you did, and also include my district. We're also calling you for halal food. I want to thank everyone for testifying. We will now move to virtual testimony. Please wait for your name to be called to testify, and please select unmute when you prompted. The first one, William McDonald.
Yes. Good afternoon, Chairman Zwang and members of the Committee on Aging. My name is Bill McDonald. I'm a volunteer with AARP, and I'm currently state president of AARP New York. I'm here on behalf of approximately 750,000 members in New York City and the 2.5 million New Yorkers age 50 and older across the 5 boroughs. Thank you for holding this important hearing on social isolation among older New Yorks. Social isolation is one of the most serious and growing challenges facing older adults, and it is being exacerbated by the chronic underfunding of the very services designed to prevent it. For many older New Yorkers, staying connected is about more than social engagement. It is about whether they have access to the services and supports that allow them to remain healthy, independent, and in their communities. But right now, those supports are not keeping pace with the need. Over the past decade, the number of New Yorkers aged 65 and older has increased by 35%, and the number living in poverty has risen by nearly 50%. At the same time, older adults make up about 20% of the city's population. Yet, the Department of Aging receives just 1/2 of 1% of the city budget. That gap has real consequences, and it is unacceptable. There are many vibrant older adult centers across the 5 boroughs, but too many others have been left to deteriorate. And when centers are not warm, welcoming, and well-maintained, older adults simply stop coming. We should be investing in centers so that they are inviting, offer good nutritious food, and provide meaningful programming. In short, every older adult center should be a place where older New Yorkers can come and spend time. Because when we get that right, we do more than serve a meal. We create community, we reduce isolation, and we help people stay healthy and independent. The same is true for meal programs. When congregate meals are underfunded, older adults miss not just nutrition, but daily interaction. When home delivered meals are limited, homebound older adults can go days without seeing another
Your
person.
time has expired.
Thank you.
Next one, we have Joanne Edie Rose.
You may begin.
Hit it again.
You good, man? Begin.
Okay. My name is Joanne Edie Rhodes. I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak on behalf of the center that I attend, SNAP Brookville. SNAP Brookville was a lifeline for me 4 years ago when I started attending. I had just lost my husband after being married for 44 years and also had just retired after teaching at Hunter College for 46 years. The center gave me the opportunity to talk to numerous people that were completely new to me. There was one woman in particular who took me under her wing and introduced me to a number of people as well as to the way the center worked, socially. I also had the opportunity to meet up with somebody that I hadn't seen since we were children. And she asked me, "Are you an Edie?" And I said, "Yes." And I said, "Well, why did you ask me that?" And she said, "Because you look like them." And I hadn't seen her since I was about 5 or 6 years old. Our older siblings were involved with the Mickey Mouse Club. And because of that, I guess we became involved with the Mickey Mouse Club at that young age. They were older. In any case, the center has been very, very important to me. Uh, and it was because of my daughter, actually one of my daughters that I went to the center. She heard me say that I was feeling lonely, and she immediately called the center, and because they had transportation, I was able to attend. I needed the transportation terribly because of problems that I have with balance.
Your time has expired.
And let's you please wrap up. Joanne? Okay. Okay. Next one, we have Kathy Connor.
You may begin.
Cassie? Are you still here?
Afternoon.
Caller.
Hello.
Yes,
may
you can
begin.
begin.
Hello. Good
Yes.
afternoon.
Yes, we
Hi there.
hear you.
Hi. Sorry about that. I wasn't expecting to speak. I'm Kathy Khan. I'm the director of SNAP Brookville Older Adult Center, and Joanne Edie Rhodes is one of our participants. Um, Her story of coming to the center after being socially isolated is a story I hear all the time, that the center becomes their way of life, that they come here for socialization and a nutritious meal and exercise and all the programs that we have here. It's such an important place for them that they miss it when they're not here, and they don't necessarily have what to do otherwise. So it's really a blessing that we have senior centers and older adult centers that they can come to. We also have social workers and caseworkers where they can come and get assistance where, they might not know what to do with their mail or a form to fill out or anything else. So we're blessed to have a caseworker here at our center that assists our seniors. We're blessed to also in our agency have a caregiver program, which is fabulous, and I happen to be a part of myself. We have the friendly visiting that keeps those seniors who are at home not socially isolated. Our case management services are fabulous. So I'm giving you a little commercial for services now for adult persons. But there's such value to what we do here at our centers that I couldn't imagine life without them. And for me, myself, I'm looking forward to retiring one day and being a participant here.
Thank you. Next,
Thank you.
next we have Nina Bola Kurz.
You may begin.
So I think what you can just say is that we're going to read these names, and then you can just read them, and then do a last call, and then we'll close out.
Next one we have Oliver So. Oliver So. Masa Kimber. Masa Kimber. Katie Foley. Katie Foley. Athena After. Athena After. Solomon Smart. Solomon Smart. Thank you to everyone who has testified. If there's anyone present in the room or on Zoom that has not had the opportunity to testify, please raise your hand. Seeing no one else, I would like to. Oh, okay. In that case, yes. Yeah, you can go ahead.
Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Helen An, Managing Director of Aging Services of Korean Community Services of Metropolitan New York. At our Flushing Older Adult Center, we see every day that social isolation and food insecurity are not separate issues. They are deeply connected, and many of the older adults we serve are not only alone, but also struggling to access regular culturally appropriate meals. Social isolation is not just about being alone. It is about being unseen, unheard, and disconnected. For immigrant seniors, this is even more severe due to language barrier, limited mobility, and lack of accessible services. I would like to share the story of Miss Lee, who is 83 years old Korean immigrant who lives alone. After losing her husband, she became deeply isolated. She rarely left her home and often skipped meals. When she first came to our center, she sat quietly, unsure if she belonged. But through a warm meal, familiar language, and welcoming community, she slowly began to reconnect. Today, she attends regularly and participates in activities and even welcomes new participants. She told us, "This place gives me my life back." Her story reflects hundreds of seniors at our FOAC who depend on us not just for food, but for connection and dignity. But we are at capacity. Our center serves hundreds of older adults daily, average 400 participants every day. Our space is overcrowded, our staff are stretched thin, trying to meet growing needs from meals to case assistance to emotional support for friendly visiting as well. If we are serious about addressing social isolation and food insecurity, we must invest in the infrastructure behind these services. We need more space so seniors are not turned away. We need more staff to provide the care and the connection they deserve. Without this support, we risk leaving our most vulnerable seniors behind. I urge you to invest in expanding older adult centers like FOAC, because behind every number is someone like Ms. Lee who is simply looking for connection, nourishment, and dignity. Thank you.
Thank you, Helen, and I want to thank KCS for the wonderful work you guys doing. Thank you. Thank you, everyone who has testified. If there's anyone present in the room or on Zoom has not had the opportunity to testify, please raise your hand. See no one else, I would like to note that written testimony, which will be reviewed in full by committee staff, may be submitted to record up to 72 hours after the close of this hearing by email it to testimony@council.nyc.gov.